Hello, everyone. This is Bushra Dudin, your host, coming from the home of the lovely Marie Quigley, whom I'm sure many of you have met online and also through her Success Workshop and other work that she's done in the community. Um, Today, we're interviewing Marie as one of the first coaches, hopefully in a series of interviews that basically showcase the coaches in our community. And the reason why we're doing this, and I'm very grateful to you, Marie, for being so excited about this project, is that we feel that the coaching community is like a cloud on the internet. All those names that show up. Sometimes you see photos, but it's not personal. It's all very virtual, as you might say. And we were both excited about putting faces and putting voices out there for you to meet and to get more of a sense of this community, because it's beautiful, it's diverse. We have many, many amazing coaches in Dubai and in the region that we all want to meet. So let's start. Marie, in one of the evenings that we had at Authenticity, you said something about, even though we're coming to coaching recently, we're old life. We bring all of our life experiences with us. So, coming from that perspective, what would you like to share with us about your life before coaching, your childhood, the places you've been in, anything that you'd like to say about that?
Okay. I believe strongly that as coaches we definitely bring so much of our life and living experience, which is hugely important to the impact that we have on our work and our clients and on our lives. I was born in England. At the age of 13, we moved to my father's place in Northern Ireland, where I went to school, managing as a stranger in a new place. We moved back to England then, and I learned a lot about repatriation and getting back into groups that had moved on and all the stresses and strains that come with a normal teenage life, plus other things going on. So I had a normal childhood. I'm the eldest of 4 children. I went to university to study graphic design. I went to university because I didn't know what I wanted to do, really. Actually, that's the truth. So I fell into it because I was good at art. Okay? Had I known I was a good communicator, I may not have gone that route. So I went to university, met my husband there, and fell into teaching because I was in a very low-paid job working in London, and somebody asked me to teach, and I did some lecturing in graphic design, and I absolutely loved the connection with other people. I got married. I went to Eastern Germany a couple of years after the wall came down, which was an extremely exciting, vibrant place to be. Again, a whole mix of nationalities, cultures, beliefs, languages, and I absolutely loved it. The thing that killed me was the weather. It used to get to -30, and one day I got and as I made that decision that I wanted to leave that cold place, I got a phone call out of the blue asking me if I'd like to move with my job to Singapore. And I said yes, and my husband said no. And I said yes, and my husband said no. And for a long time he said no, and finally he turned around and said yes. So we moved to Singapore, and I had a wonderful job travelling around the region, learning Chinese, meeting lots of different cultures, and then I had my baby. And I remember sitting in a hotel in Japan, and my baby was at home, and I thought, this is not what I want. So I came home and said, I want to go home. And so we went home, but we didn't really go home. We went back to Ireland. Ireland was booming, and my husband found work there. So I landed in Dublin, beautiful city, a place that my heart's always been in Ireland, but I landed in a place where I knew no one and was very lonely, and probably struggled for 3 years to fit in, and then finally started to fit in, but always yearned for something different, something exciting. That travelling spirit within me is always there. And my husband woke up one morning and said, "I've had enough." And I thought, so have I. So we set our intentions to go back into this travelling world again. And as you set your intentions, something happens.
And it's clearly a value for you to travel and to learn.
It is. It's a huge value to be with other people, learn about other people. Learning is a lifelong experience for me. I'm constantly wanting to study people, study things, study about things. I feel like I'm an eternal student, but I love teaching too. And so we set our intention, and a phone call comes out of the blue, and my husband takes a job in Dubai.
Wow.
And I had just had a baby, my 3rd child, and she was 4 months old, and I packed up the house and we landed in this place that I'd never been before, and I just had this overwhelming sense of, this is where I'm meant to be. And so we landed in Dubai.
I'm just curious, how many kids do you have, and what ages, what are their names?
Okay, I have 3 children. Erin is my eldest, she's 14. Conan is my middle child, my son. He's 11, and Tegan is my little one. She's 6.
Wow. Bless them.
Yes.
Great.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so, in Dubai you discovered coaching, or did you have a relationship with coaching before you came to Dubai? How did coaching happen?
Okay, so a couple of years into living in Dublin, I wanted to do something other than just working at home. So I trained in Bowen therapy, which is a holistic therapy working with pain. And I discovered as I was working with clients that a lot of the session was talking and talking through their pain and their stresses in their life. So I became really interested in the impact that being with somebody and allowing them to talk about what they are going through has on someone. And I remember, and this is now 12 years ago, 11 years ago, saying out loud, I want to be a coach. And all my saboteurs came in, I don't have enough money, I'm not clever enough, I don't have life experience, and I pushed it aside. And 2 years after being in Dubai, I went to a party, a friend's 40th birthday party. Maybe she wasn't 40. If she wasn't 40, I'm sorry. But it was a friend's party, and this woman walked in, and she just had this amazing glow about herself, and her name is Sam Preston, and she's a coach in our community. And she just looked amazing, and I was attracted to her. So I went over and I spoke to her and said, you have this amazing aura, what's happening? And she started to talk about CTI and the program she was going on, and I was fascinated. And I said out loud again, I want to be a coach. And she said, go and do it. And a year later, I met her at the same party. And she said, so, what have you done about coaching? And I said, nothing. My husband's not got a job anymore, we don't have any money, and blah, 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 blah. Lots of fears and excuses. And so, 2 days later, she made a phone call to me and she said, you have to be there tomorrow if you want this fundamentals course. And I thought, oh my God, thank you. Thank you. And I arranged everything so that other people were looking after the children, and I attended the fundamentals course. Wow.
Wow, indeed.
I found my home. I couldn't believe it. But the fear for me was, I don't have any money to continue with this. So what am I going to do? And I had been working with a couple separately, and they heard I was doing this, had begun the coaching program, and I think I must have begun the coaching program in November, and at Christmas time, December, that I got a knock at my door and they came in. I was very surprised. It wasn't a session or anything, and they came in and they said, "We want to thank you." And they handed me this letter, which I opened, which said, we are gifting you the first stage of the next stage of the program.
Yeah.
Wow.
And you shared with me earlier that you had been coaching this couple,
Yes.
just having fundamentals in your
Yes.
toolbox
Yes.
as a coach.
Yeah.
And it's really hard for me to imagine because, okay, fundamentals is a great course, but it doesn't give you everything. It doesn't give you all the tools.
Yeah.
So how did you help them with this limited toolbox? Or maybe it wasn't limited.
It didn't feel limited at the time. I trusted fully in the process of coaching. And I brought my life experience with me into the room when we worked together.
Wow.
And I asked them to bring their life experience into the room when we worked together. So that fundamentals is a massive amount of tools in its own right.
Yes.
Yeah. So I don't know the process. I was flabbergasted by the impact that they obviously had with this small amount of tools. And I'm ever grateful to them for the gift they gave me.
So they paid for you to do fulfillment.
They paid for me to do fulfillment.
And then you were like, okay, this is happening.
Right.